Moving on.
Okay.
Other questions. I have very limited time.
sorry, mister.
I mean, if you can cook, you should do it.
No, but even just putting my name on it.
But can you cook?
Yeah, I love cooking, yeah.
You just pointed at your crotch.
No, I didn't.
You pointed at his crotch! That's so inappropriate for a child show podcast.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Bule GoVlog. And usually we have, for the most part, we had comedians on this podcast. But today we have a very, very, very special guest. He's definitely the richest guy we've ever had on this podcast. We have a Indo-billionaire, but billionaire not in rupias, in US dollars. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Bobby. Give him a round of applause.
You're welcome, Chris.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you. It's such an honor to have you here, and I'm in awe. So first of all, I want to ask, because there's a lot of confusion about your past. I mean, you became super viral, especially recently. You're like the Dan Bilzerian of Indonesia, I would say. But so my first question, because of course I have such a knowledge. A source of knowledge in front of me is how do you become a billionaire? How do you get so rich?
Yeah, people always wonder why Asians are so rich and so wealthy. Wealthy is different from rich.
What's the difference?
Well, people think that in Asian culture it's the discipline and how we get discipline from our parents, or they think it's the work ethic we get from university, or the discipline that you put in from college, but it's actually only where you're born in. You have to be born in a rich family, so it's definitely a choice.
Is a choice to be born in a rich family?
I chose my family to be born in.
Oh, okay, that's it. And your family is pretty well. How did they make money?
So my dad, he was in the back of a bus in a bajai. Actually, do you know what that is?
Yes.
So he was in a bajai, which is a tuk-tuk for people who don't know what it is, and he happened to find a wonderful book. And he read this book 17 times in that day. That's how efficient my dad was.
I don't think that's possible to read.
Anyway, he read this book 17 times, and he started his business, Saputra Holding, which is worth $10 trillion, which is bigger than Apple. Actually, 10 times bigger than Apple.
Can we check that? Because I don't think.
Moving on.
Okay.
Other questions. I have very limited time.
sorry, Mr. Bobby.
I have to go to H Club after this for lunch. They close it for me.
So what is a day in the life of Bobby?
I wake up. My Singaporean maid makes Indomie for me every morning.
You have a Singaporean maid?
Yeah, 3. Yeah.
Okay.
One of them recently, I was at Pierre restaurant, and I just took the chef, and he became my maid. I offered him $10,000 a month, and he said yes. So I have a Singaporean maid.
Do you need any Italian stuff? Remember,
I got one yesterday, actually.
Okay.
I went to the Mulia Hotel, and there was Chef Marco at the buffet. We can put in a clip of Chef Marco. And I asked him as well. He gets $25K for being my chef. Anyway, I wake up in the morning around 6 or 7. My Singaporean maids cook me an Indomie. Sometimes 2, sometimes 3. And then, I get off to the races and talk to my dad for like a couple of minutes. I just agree with whatever he says. Like, yeah, cool. And then I do whatever I want anyway. Afterwards, I go grab lunch at Pim, Pondok Indah Mall.
It's too expensive for me.
Yeah, there's a Bakmi Gajah Mada, which is old world money. Only old world money goes there. So I can go there every day, fortunately. Then I'll have an ice bath, and then around 5 p.m. I remind myself that all this wealth came from my dad, so I remind my dad to work harder. And then in the evening I just fall asleep and do it all over again.
So basically you do nothing. It's just your father. Your father really should be here instead of you.
What do you mean nothing?
I mean, you just.
I'm the son of my dad. I do a lot. I'm very useful.
I'm sure you are. I'm sure you're as useful as a bee.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. You know that if B would die off, then the whole humanity would die off. It's the same thing with rich son of a billionaire.
Yeah, I'm very useful.
I mean, you're spreading the economy. You know, you're spending all your money on.
I'm doing charity if you really think about it.
Okay.
You're welcome.
Do you want to do some charity now? I mean, the camera guy will really need it, I'm
yeah,
sure.
Sure. Whatever you guys want. I'll buy it for you later.
Nice.
Cool. If you like and follow this podcast, I'll buy you a Ferrari.
I take no responsibilities. Is all Mr. Bobby.
You're welcome.
But so Mr. Bobby, okay. So what suggestion, what advice would you give, like, to our guests, well, to our audience that want to become as rich as you, that look up to you? Like, will they ever be able to be on your level? Probably not. But what can they do to get as close as possible?
I think you have to be willing to go to any length. And remember, there are no crimes if your family is rich enough to pay off for it.
Okay, I think that this is going to be our last podcast. They're going to sue us.
Yeah, no. I think the biggest choice people can make is to be born in a rich family.
Yeah, I guess many people made really dumb choices, right? Like, how could you decide to be born in a poor family?
Why would I want to choose that? It's my choice.
Idiots.
Yeah, man. Gosh.
I recently saw a video. Some people think it's fake. I see one of your many viral video where you were on a mall and you talked to this Chinese Indonesian guy, and you asked him to give you 1 million, and he just gave it to you.
I can't believe this worked.
Is that real or was that
100%? So this started off with my friend Vic, and he and we went to Pick to north of Jakarta, and I thought of something in my head. I was like, Chinese Indonesians, they have a lot of pride, right? And they have a lot of like, ooh, what would happen if we did this? So I went into the mall, and the first person we asked, apparently he's a lawyer or something, and like we put him on camera, and I was like, hi, are you Chindo? And he's like, yes. And I said, will you give me 1 million rupiah for a business I don't know what it is yet? He looks at me for like 1 second. He's like, okay. He pulls 1 million rupiah out of his pocket and just gives it to me. And I started thinking like, wait a minute, like this works. So we went to the next one. He didn't want to give us 1 million, but he gave us 100K. And then the next one gave us 100. And then the fourth guy gave us another 1 million.
No way.
Yeah, no joke.
That is insane.
That's crazy. Chindo's never. Are we back? Are we still in Bobby or are we still in Ben now? Like we're.
Oh, you decide.
Yeah. So okay. So I'm from Germany, right? So I came here to Indonesia, and I didn't.
Just a second, because of course many people know you, and you became a viral sensation with Bobby, but actually the real guest, it's super cool Ben, is and you. So you're a content creator who came very recently in Indonesia. Now you're super famous here. But when did you come to Indonesia?
I came to Bali last year, but I came to Jakarta and started making content 5 months ago.
Oh wow! So in 5 months you became huge already.
Yes, yeah, 5 months.
Oh wow!
Started 5 months.
And you started with the food content.
Food, yeah. So cooking and food. So the initial plan was actually to do food content to build a little audience for a restaurant that I haven't planned.
Oh,
that was the actual idea. I had no idea that I would start pretending to be a Chindo going to fancy restaurants. So two things. I wanted to start a restaurant, and I wanted to eat loads of food for free. So, of course, content is the fastest way to go, And then I started posting a couple of videos, and after like a week or two, I started getting my first brand deals, and it already went up to like 30, 40, 50,000 followers within a couple of weeks. Yeah,
because I remember actually I met you for the first time. We were both invited to a restaurant to make some content.
Casa Cuomo. Yeah.
Casa Cuomo, which is, in my opinion, one of, if not the best Italian restaurant.
It was good.
And I remember, and I was looking at you, I looked at your Instagram, we had the same amount of followers, and 3 days after you had like almost half more than 50% more than I did.
Yeah. So the 100K took me 4 or 5 months, and then the 60K after took me like 3 weeks.
Wow.
So I was like, yeah. And then now it's just like last weekend was 21K in one weekend. I was like, something's happening. And TikTok had 0, and it got like really fast as well. So.
And this is also the thing that you do that is very unique as far as content goes, because food content, so many people does, and so many people do the same. Even so many bules do Indonesian content because they know that Indonesian people like to see bules discover Indonesian culture.
Yeah.
But then you just started. How did it happen? How did you start with this new character?
With Bobby or with
Bobby?
Oh, so yeah. So Bobby's a funny story. I was walking down the stairs of this hotel in Jimbaran. I think it's do you happen to know this hotel in Jimbaran?
There's many.
No, this really fancy one.
The Kempinski?
No, Jimbaran, the one where you go down the Rock Bar, that hotel.
I don't know.
Ayana. I went to the Ayana hotel in Jimbaran. And I started walking down the stairs, and it's my friend's wedding. And I walk down the stairs and I look at all these like super well dressed, perfect skinned Chinese Indonesians. They're unbelievably like well groomed, well dressed, and I'm like, these are Chinese Indonesians. They're so detached from reality.
So you're not Chindo?
I am, but I'm European. I grew up in Germany. I grew up in the UK.
So your parents are Chinese Indonesian?
My parents are both Chinese Indonesian, but
Okay.
they grew up in Europe.
Okay.
So I'm 100% European. So I come to Indonesia and I see these perfectly groomed people, and they are so detached from reality. Like, they have these credit cards that have colors I've never even seen before, and they spend ridiculously. They never think, and I've had some friends as well that go into these restaurants and they just spend whatever they want. And I thought, these guys are so detached from reality. I wonder if they know what's going on in the real world, because they all live in their little homes. They're not allowed out. They have like these credit cards and they have to do whatever their parents tell them. And I'm just like, wow, I bet one of them is called Bobby. That's like such a rich people name, you know, Kevin and Bobby, and like, and then I thought,
It's a rich Asian name.
rich Asian name. Bobby only started like 3 weeks ago.
No,
So
but
it's
I mean Bobby as a name, or Kevin is like a rich, like a super rich Asian kind of name.
Yeah. And like William,
Yeah.
right? So my dad is William, and like William Saputra, and he started this whole thing, and I never see him. He never talks to me. He never gives me attention, but I can use his credit card, which is great.
That's
And
all you need from your father.
I wondered if I could pretend to be Bobby and go to fancy restaurants and like crack a couple jokes about how rich and how hard my life is.
Yeah, I saw the first video that went viral was you with the golden AK, right?
Yes,
AK-47.
Yes.
That's so crazy.
Yeah, funny.
That's insane.
Yeah.
But so, why do you think you're having such a rising in social media? Why do you think people just love your content so much?
Because we all...
Because obviously it's sarcastic.
Yeah.
Or do you think people really think
Oh,
you're...
100%. People think it's real, yeah.
Oh, wow.
Even my friends, bro. Some of my closest friends are like, dude, you're like super, super rich. I'm like, no, dude. I'm like a normal European person who'd be happy with 2,000 euros a month. Like, I'm completely... I have no luxury, nothing. I don't even have a car. I have nothing. And like, I would be happy living with $2,000 every single month for the rest of my life. And I wouldn't even be like, oh no. And I think everyone wants to know what the life of a Bobby looks like, I think.
Yeah. Well, but that's why Dan Bilzerian became so famous. And in Italy, we have another one. I don't know if he's famous in Indonesia, but he's famous all over the world, which is called Gianluigi Vacchi. And he is actually a Bobby. So the story of this guy is this. He is the son of a billionaire in the pharmaceutical industry. And he was such a fuck up that his brother, because he was supposed to start working in the company, they said, we're going to give you billions of dollars and unlimited money just for you not to be in the family company.
Wow, he was such a dick, eh?
And so he just started Instagram, and he's only yachts and Lamborghinis, and he's like in his 60s, all completely tattooed, gray, silver hair, and he just fucking parties the whole time. And he has, I think, at least 20, 30 million followers.
Wow. Yeah. That's Bobby, basically.
Because and that's the thing, like the thing that I realized when I was younger, because I live in Italy and I live close to Monaco. Like Monaco in Europe is like the Singapore of Europe, but way richer.
Oh, yeah, ish, yeah. Singapore is much crazier, dude. Like,
I'm not sure. Like I knew in Monaco I knew people that only move by helicopter, for example.
oh, okay, yeah.
Like if you go to the main square of Monaco where you can go play in the casino, Like it's only Bentley, Lamborghini, Bugatti. That's
I've been, yeah.
And you realize that like it's almost like parallel reality. Like you see these people, but they are not living in the same reality
That's
you're
Bobbies.
living.
Those are all Bobbies.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like they can afford anything they want.
Yeah.
Just like, for example, if there are homeless people or people that don't have nothing, we live in a different reality than they are.
Yes.
But this reality, they're so close and they're so far at the same time.
Yeah, but that's what I think Bobby is so popular because now all these brand deals are getting so crazy where all these fancy restaurants are inviting me out, like watch companies and like travel companies, and they're like, do you want to go on a boat in Saudi Arabia and stuff like that? And this is all legit, and they're like, do you want to go cross country driving and like from one place in Thailand to another, and all these brand deals, and I think everyone wants to know what the life of a Bobby kind of looks like, and I was also kind of curious, right? But the weirdest thing is, I get the least amount of hate than I ever have before. When I was doing real food content, people would like insult me and like DM and like you're whatever.
Oh, I'm part of the problem. Part of my content is insulting people that don't do food right. And Italian and Indonesia are very similar in that we're very proud about our food.
Yeah.
Like the last video I did was about a very popular food content creator from the US that he used Indomie, and he said that Indomie was from Malaysia.
It's not?
It's Indo-me.
Oh, yeah.
It's like, it's not Malay-me.
Oh, yeah, true. Good one, Chris.
and that's part of my content. I actually, my content is fueled by hate, pretty much. That's what. But this is the cool thing about you, because you being sarcastic is art that imitates life that start to imitate art, because by you pretending to be Bobby, you're getting to live the life of a Bobby.
Yes, but the thing is, I told you, right? Like I'm being the harshest I ever have been with insulting Chinese Indonesian culture, the hardest I ever have been, insulting poor people and like child workers and Singaporean maids as hard as I ever have been, and I get the least amount of. This is the most support I've ever gotten. And like the DMs, I get like over 100 DMs a day, and they're all like, "Oh, we love you, Bobby. Can you send us 20 million rupiah?" And I'm like, "Bro, I barely have 20 million rupiah. If I had 20 million rupiah, I wouldn't send all my money to you.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
But it's like there's another content creator that is doing the same. I wonder if you took inspiration from him. He's the guy that pretend to be the son of Arnaud.
Bernard Arnault?
No, Arnaud is, I think now he's in the top 5 richest men in the world. He's the founder of Louis Vuitton.
Yeah. No, I haven't seen it. No.
And there's a French kid that pretend to be his son.
Oh, right, yeah.
But the type of content that he does is that he always get angry saying, you don't know who my father is.
Yeah.
For example, the first video that became very viral is he was in New York and he tried to get into a club and the bouncer said no. And he started screaming at him like a brat.
Yeah. I see that video. Yeah.
Have you taken inspiration? Like, how did you decide?
No, Bobby's different, right? Bobby lives his life very normally. Bobby doesn't know it. Bobby's quite stupid. Bobby's quite dumb. Like he's been to Harvard, to the campus, but like he's not as smart. Bobby's quite silly. He's stupid. Bobby doesn't know about anything. He lives in his bubble. He doesn't know that other people are struggling or working or anything like that. Bobby's dumb. So Bobby doesn't. When I do Bobby, I don't always like create a scene. I don't. There's nothing. I live my life as it is. Just I pretend to be Bobby. Same with all my content, bro. I never have content shooting days. I live my life like a normal person. I eat food. I film it. I create a story around it, and that's all my content is about. I never plan a shoot. Except like yesterday, I'll plan one shoot if like a friend comes or something.
Fair enough.
And then, but other than that, I live my day. I create a story around it, and sometimes I'm a rich billionaire kid.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it's fun.
Do you think you're gonna create a plethora of a character, or you're gonna stay with Bobby?
Well, so Bobby's only 3 weeks old, and I feel like Bobby's just starting. So I feel like
Fair enough.
I think I could pull Bobby off for the next couple of months, maybe a year, and then I was thinking of going a little crazier, like. But yeah, maybe.
Because this is the problem, and I mean, it's a good problem to have. It's the same problem that Uncle Roger had, Jason Leon. Do you know Uncle
Nigel,
Roger?
Yeah, Nigel.
Sorry, Nigel. Jason is the other
different Asian person, bro.
Yeah, he's the other comedian. No, but I met Nigel. So Nigel came to Bali to perform, and I was one of the promoters, and I talked to him. And Nigel was already a pretty successful, not famous, but he was pretty successful stand-up comedian that moved to London from Malaysia. And in London, he was doing well. He did a few appearances on Comedy Central and some big show. But there's a lot of competition, especially in England and in London, between comedians. And then he did the one video where he made fun of the BBC, I think it was, making fried rice, where he used a character Uncle Roger. And now he's almost like a slave of his own character, because he wants to be famous as Nigel, not necessarily as Uncle Roger. But he's a very smart guy, because when he went to Bali, when he did this tour everywhere, and he got paid so much money. But what he did, when you have a special in comedy, you have openers. One of his openers was himself. So he went as Nigel, and he did a set as Nigel, and then he said, "Thank you very much, my name is Nigel." Then he changed, he put the orange polo, and then he went back and did 1 hour as Uncle Roger.
Yeah.
And also he started to setting himself up, because I remember one of the promo was like, "Oh, I'm Uncle Roger, I'm old, this is the last time I'm gonna do a tour, next time I'll send my nephew Nigel to do a tour." But so this is like, now he's almost a slave of his own character, because now nobody wants Nigel, or many less people want Nigel than the people that want Uncle Roger. Are you afraid that they're just going to be wanting Bobby, and they're like, we don't like Ben, like, we don't care?
Yeah, I feel that sometimes. I go to church and all my friends are like, Bobby, and like everyone's just like, when I get recognized, it's always Bobby. It's like, yeah. Bobby, and I haven't thought about that yet.
Well, at least they know you. Like, when they recognize me, now it's starting to get Chris. Before, they would call me just Bule on sushi, or even worse, they would call me Chin Chow Man.
Why?
Because when I did sushi, and that's part of my content, and also that's part of my comedy. When I do stand-up comedy for Indonesian people, the many jokes that I do is me not understanding Indonesian culture. And one of the things that I don't understand, because it makes no fucking sense, is cappuccino chin chow. Like, why would you take cappuccino, which is already perfect drink, and add chin chow, which is kind of a boba? It's like they put this grass jelly in cappuccino, which is disgusting. And if you drink cappuccino chin chow, you should be ashamed of yourself. And so I did one joke on national television. So for months, people wouldn't even know my name. They would call me Chin Chow.
Chin Chow.
Until this day, I receive several messages a day of people drinking Chin Chow and tagging me.
Wow, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I hate. Yeah, that's funny, man. Yeah, maybe. I don't know. Bobby's a fun guy, though. Like, Bobby gets a lot of love, which is so weird, because some people, the people who know it's sarcasm, they're just like, bro, this is like, people from ages ago, they're texting me like, bro, I found a new source of joy. Like, watching Bobby live his day is the funniest thing ever. And like, people from home, and like, people are sending each other these videos.
But do you think it's because through Bobby you can make fun of the rich?
Yeah, why not? I can make fun. I can say anything, like, it's a character, like, I'm Bobby. It's like, I can say whatever I want, and then still it's Bobby saying it, it's like, not necessarily my opinion. I don't think all rich people suck, and I don't think we're all stupid. Like, they're all stupid, like, and I don't think they're all spoiled. I mean, of course that's in the back of my mind, but I'm still, I just have a great time. Like, it's just, yeah, I don't know where this is gonna go yet.
But so when you came to Indonesia, did you have the idea, I want to become a content creator, or what was it?
No, I came for different reasons. Like, I was in LA, I was in London, and it was getting really cold, and I thought, I always had in the back of my mind, I want to live back in Indonesia.
Like my roots kind of thing.
Yeah, but I moved to Bali, so I lived in Bali for a whole year.
And then you chose the most European
I thought about
place
that when
in Indonesia.
Looked at all my roommates, and they're all like 2-meter tall white boys, and I was like, did I move here for Indonesia, or did I move here for the weather? I think I moved here for the weather. And the food. Yeah.
No, the food is amazing.
Yeah.
Well, this is the problem with Indonesian food, and with many Asian cuisine. The depth of flavor is amazing, but because it's also so experimental and they mix so much, they also do terrible things. Like they have the best of the food and they have the worst of the food.
I agree with that. Yeah.
And it's a little bit like Chinese cuisine and Thai cuisine and
yeah, I agree. It's like, but I don't know. I think living in Asia is the best thing in the world.
Oh, absolutely.
It's just the most fun. I mean, in 1 hour I'm in Singapore, in another hour I'm in Thailand.
And the quality of life also.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I have a Singaporean maid, so.
Four,
no, three, and an Italian chef. It's gonna be my household count, you know. Like I'm gonna have an Italian chef, a Singaporean maid, and I'm gonna have like a Montaguese nanny, you know.
And before that, what were you doing?
I had a normal 9 to 5. I do private cooking, so I do private.
Okay,
chef.
so you are a chef.
Yeah, I'm actually that's what my intention was. Like I wanted to open that restaurant, right? Like,
So obviously now the restaurant is going to be called Bobby, and it's going to be a super fancy restaurant.
it's probably going to be something like that. And I think now the opportunities, of course, with the social media and everyone being like wanting to support this, they're all like the restaurant will happen 100%.
I've been approached, and I imagine you even more. I've been approached already for Italian restaurants in Indonesia.
You should. I mean, if you can cook, you should do it.
No, but even just putting my name on it.
But can you cook?
Yeah, I love cooking. Yeah, absolutely.
But can you cook?
I can. I can.
Okay. Why not?
Yeah.
What's stopping you?
Well, it is my wife.
Why?
That's for stop, because my focus now is that there's too many projects. That's the good thing and the bad thing about the show business is that at any given time you have 20 projects, and at any given time they can all fall in a second. So you need to pick and choose your battles.
They're buttholes? Oh, battles. Oh,
Battles.
sorry. Your accent's so strong.
Did you, Miss Producer, did you know Bobby? Have you ever seen him before?
Yeah.
Did you think he was a real billionaire?
At first, I thought it is.
Gee whiz.
She was like, oh, I'm going to get my new husband. And then she's like, oh, he only has 20 million? Fuck that guy.
Yeah. That's funny.
So for the future, for now, is obviously just pushing on Bobby.
Yeah, I'm having fun, and I feel like I'm only starting. Like, I still feel like I'm only starting with content. I post every single day. I edit and shoot everything myself, and I feel like I'm just starting. So
I think you should get yourself a team. I think you're
that
getting
would stop me.
close.
That would stop me so much. That would hold me back so much.
Or even just an editor, someone you send your stuff.
It's the comedic timing. I have this incredible sense of like comedic timing.
Wow, so
where I'm
humble.
like, yeah, but bro, look, I'm very, very humble with a hint of Kanye, you know?
Yeah.
Like, but no one can pull it off, especially if I hire an Indonesian editor. They won't understand my jokes,
Yeah.
and they won't be able to like.
Oh, so you're racist as well. Okay.
Yeah, fuck everyone. I hate everyone equally, bro. Especially Italians.
You should.
Yeah.
You should. I'm the kind of guy, people always ask me, oh, you know, how's the Italian community in India? I was like, I have no idea. As soon as I hear Italian language, I go the other way.
American pizza is better than Italian pizza.
Okay, this is the episode. Thank you very much. We have to close here because I have to beat him up.
Have you been to New York?
Yeah. Well, I've
You had
been,
New York pizza?
I've been 21 years ago.
You
No.
have New York style pizza?
Yeah, but New York style pizza
Better than
sucks.
Italian pizza.
Sucks.
No. America is better than anyone and everything. Give me that book. Where's that book?
The Trump book. What is happening with the lights? Bobby's
How to
coming.
get rich.
We didn't pay.
Take a food from a different country and make it your own.
I actually read one of his books, which was The Art of the Deal.
Was it good?
It was interesting. Yeah, where he talks about he's growing up in the real estate market in New York.
Brand yourself and toot your horn.
That's what Bobby's doing. Actually,
First page, man. Wow, this is like a Bible.
actually, How to Get Rich should be a great title for a Bobby book,
Ooh, how to get rich. And just like quotes and like funny.
or even just content, like Motivation on Monday with Bobby.
Yeah. That could be definitely it.
Okay, if you make money, I want 5%.
50.
But okay, that's not how you make deals.
Hey, I'm Bobby. I don't know. Do you need some money?
Always.
Okay, cool. GoPay? You take GoPay?
Oh yes, I take any kind of money, please.
Okay, good.
This is. So I want to ask you. Now you see yourself living in Indonesia, or you think you're gonna go back to the US?
I'm not attached to anywhere,
Okay.
but I want to live in Indonesia for a while. I just don't know. I lost the urge to travel.
I guess if you grow this much with the luxury content, well, I guess you might move to Dubai or Singapore or.
I don't know, man. Like, yeah, a couple of watch stuff is like, you know, a couple of like renting luxury car deals are happening, but I like it here, man. Like, I'm in Bali in an hour. I'm in Singapore in an hour.
And it's an odd choice, though, to choose Jakarta
What do you mean?
to live in. Because the only bules that I know that live in Jakarta are people that either work in the embassy or work in big companies. It's not the first choice for many people to live in, because of course Jakarta is a big metropolis, a lot of traffic. The air, of course, is not the best. Most people, when they move to Indonesia, they move to Labuan Bajo or Bali.
Yeah, but I have family here, so.
Okay.
Yeah, and friends here, family.
So before we move to the games, I want to ask you, like seriously, because becoming a TikTok famous or Instagram famous is the new goal of every teenager, right? I don't know in US, but in Italy, it used to be every kid, if he was a boy, wanted to become a soccer player. If he was a girl, he wanted to be a movie star. Now everyone wants to be a YouTuber, TikToker, Instagrammer, or whatever. Since you in such a short time made such a big impact and you're still growing, and I'm not jealous at all that you put way less time and way less effort than me to become where you are. Fuck you. What would you suggest? Like, you're a young guy, you're a young girl, you want to become Instagram famous. How do you find the market, the niche?
Oh, I think there's two things. There's two things there. It's like, it's not for everyone.
True.
Not everyone can pull it off. But if you do want to pull it off, I would really do something that you really enjoy, because then you don't have to create content. You just do your life. And I love eating. I love pretending to be rich. Like,
I love lying to people.
Yeah, exactly. I like that. And it's not really, man, it's tough. It's like, yeah, some weeks if you okay, it's not tough if you post every single day and you improve 1% every single day.
But this is also the thing. The thing is that people overestimate also the success that you have. Because, for example, I remember the first time I did a video that did 1 million, I was like, oh, I made it. No, it means nothing. The first time I did a video with 10 million, I was like, oh, this is going to change my life. Doesn't really, like, it's a process. And as you said, the most important thing is be consistent. You have to, I see people that are like, oh, I'm not growing on social media. I see their social media and they post once every 3 weeks. How do you expect to be growing if you do like that?
Yeah, but that's the thing. It's the same with social media and with business. If you increase 1% every single day, in a year you'll increase 13%. And that's how you increase so much. And like
that's not how mathematics work. I mean, you're Asian, you should be better. Not 13%. If it's 1% every single day, in 1 year it would be 365%.
You're telling me how to run business?
Sorry, Bobby.
I have way more money than you.
Well, that's not tough.
Exactly. So math.
You only have to look at the quality of my producer, and you realize that I have not a lot of budget.
So my math is right.
Sorry, I did. Yeah, it is.
There you go.
But one of the things that I do, for example, because you get also content fatigue. So I try, maybe in one day I will shoot 5 different contents, and so for 5 days I don't have to create a new content every day, but I'll just post it, and this makes it a little bit easier on me, for example.
I don't know, man. I don't know about that, but I post every single day, and mostly I don't expect anything. I try to make the video as kind of like funny, snappy as possible, but if you post every single day, you never know what's gonna happen. I had no idea Bobby was gonna. I posted one silly video of Bobby, and I had no idea that suddenly 20, 30 million people would see it every day. You know, like I had no idea. And like, I think
20, 30 million every day?
Yeah, over YouTube and like over TikTok.
Damn.
And like, yeah, it's a lot. Like, and like, I didn't know that Bobby was going to be such a thing. But I think you should just like throw it out there, because I remember I was in Bali February. This was like 6 months before I started posting content. I made a video every single day about being a carnivore in Bali, like just eating meat.
Okay.
And it was very good. And I was like, I thought I put a lot of work into it. I never posted it. And these 30 videos are still in the back end, and I've never even looked at them because I realized, oh, that's not me anymore. But I regret not posting them because that would have built momentum. So.
We also did a video together. You said you were going to post it, but you never posted it. It's
fine.
But
But now I'm too famous for you.
We used to be at the same level. Send me the video and I'll tag you and you'll refuse the collaboration.
We're playing a game?
we're gonna play a game which is guess the country. Every guest, well, one second. With every guest, we have a different game. So I never played this game before. So it's an emoji challenge. Okay, so they're gonna put some emoji, and from the emoji, we have to guess the country. Okay.
Wait. What can we win? You just pointed at your crotch.
No, I didn't.
You pointed at his crotch. That's so inappropriate for a child show podcast.
It's not a child show podcast. You will win my love and respect. But this is how it works.
How much money?
You already have money.
Okay. You buy me food if I win.
Yeah, of course.
Okay, cool.
This is how it works. To answer, you have to grab the Super Mario. That's like the buzzer. And be careful not to... Okay,
Hear this, sorry.
fine. You made it worse. Good. Don't...
We put our hands here. How about that?
Okay,
That's fair.
okay. I like it. But okay. One thing. When you grab it, you immediately have to answer, because we have guests that grab it and then they start thinking about the answer.
Okay.
That's cheating.
Fine. Hey.
That is Iceland.
Fuck off. I thought the same.
I lived in Iceland for 3 years, actually.
Yeah, but you cheated, bro. You grabbed it
What?
before.
Is it Iceland? Oh, then. Is it? Yes? No? No? What?
Wales. You lose a point. That's -1, bro.
But wait, that he also answered first. That, of course. Well, that was a good one.
Clever.
Okay, -1. 104.
Turkey. Oh.
Yes.
Come on, let's just... Who answers first, no?
Oh, okay.
Iceland.
Why? Oh, I see land?
Yeah.
Oh, damn.
Juicy.
Sharkland? Greenland? No, doesn't. Fishland. Atlantis.
Can we have a hint?
Give me a suggestion.
It's a fin.
Finland.
Damn it.
It's like 2-0 for me.
No, it's like
3.
3. You're kicking my ass. Chile.
Indonesia.
Chile. It's Chile. The country Chile. Indonesia.
Damn it.
Chile.
Romania.
What? How?
Romanier.
Are you serious? Did they give you the answer before? What the fuck? What? How is that? What? No. First of all, I'm the host. Like, give me things I can win. This is the first time I'm losing a game.
Belarus.
Jesus.
Oh, Belgium.
What? Let me answer, but I won this game. How many? Germany.
Damn it.
No? Germ?
Yeah. Man. Why is the middle part of family?
Gerfemin.
Oh, many.
Ah.
Clever.
Ukraine. Boom. Motherfucker.
Ukraine.
This is tense. Even the atmosphere is like foreign. France.
Correct.
Wow. Okay.
Oh, damn. You caught up.
I got the momentum now.
We can just arm wrestle for the last one.
I will fuck you up.
Okay, let's call it a draw. But I
Okay.
win.
Good
Good job.
If it's a draw, the richest win.
If in never a game there's a draw, the richest person wins.
We know that.
That's great.
That's it already.
Oh, that's it. Damn, that was short.
Yeah,
No,
we have
well
to do another, because it's the producer. She doesn't want me to talk about things. Is because she pay me by the hour. So
That's fine.
with that said, but that was very nice. I would love to have you again, because of course there is this Bobby, and I'm so curious to see where is Bobby gonna go, like the adventure of Bobby. I think there's so many possibilities, and it's really fun. And just like I said to Damien and Lawrence, I would love you to do stand-up, either as Ben, but even more as Bobby. It would be very interesting.
Ooh, okay. Yeah, I'll think about it.
That would be really cool to do a stand-up routine as Bobby. But with that said, I would love to have you back. And yeah, that's pretty much it. This was this episode of Bule GoVlog. Thank you so much for Mr. Bobby, Mr. Ben. Well, you already know where his handle is, but if you want to repeat it, it's Super Cool Ben. Is it on every platform? Super Cool Ben on every platform. Write in the comments, who do you want to see next? And as always, thank you very much. Have a great day. Bobby, say something.
Have a rich life.
Great closing.